Strong Holistic Therapies and Lifestyle Prescriptions Health Coach. Today it's my day off from the treatment room. So I'm at home and I thought I'd take the opportunity today to just quickly show you how to make your own probiotic water kefir drink at home. I've been doing it for about a year now. I started doing it because my body's doing some interesting autoimmune responses at the moment, and I'm working with a naturopathic nutritionist. It was one of the things that she recommended to me to help get my gut into optimum health. So I've just picked water kefir because it's really easy to do. The grains metabolise the sugar in the water that we're using, and they help to produce or create beneficial bacteria and acids, food enzymes, B vitamins, all populate your gut. So without further ado, the first thing that you need are kefir grains. So as mentioned, you can get dairy. These are water kefir. If you can see, they're a bit sort of yellowy. And they multiply with each brew. They feed on the sugar and they multiply. So if you know somebody that brews homemade water kefir, you can probably scrounge some of them. Otherwise you can order them online, and they just come in the post in a little bag. They might take a couple of brews when you get a new batch just to get them working at their optimum levels, but between brews they're quite happy living in the fridge in a plastic container. So you can leave them in the fridge for 6 or 7 weeks. I haven't left mine that long because I always run out before then. So you start with your grains, and I always use filter water or spring water. Preferably not tap water because the chemicals in it don't really help the kefir grains in what they're doing at all. It can damage them. So plastic utensils or wooden. So we never use metal. Metal never comes into contact with the grains in the brewing because again it can damage their properties. So it's all plastic spoons. So I've got a little 5mm measuring spoon that I use for the grains and the sugar. Plastic sieves, glass jugs, jars, bottles, away you go. Don't particularly need any special equipment, just jars, bottles that you've got lying around. But you can get special fermenting jars designed for the job, which help to release the build-up of gases during the ferment. But you can work around it with what do you call Kilner jars, or just ordinary jars, fine. Don't have to be over fussy with it. Can be over fussy if you want to, but you don't have to be. So the first thing we do is you get a jug of water. So I'm working with about 1 litre at each brew, and then into it you put your sugar, and you're going to let that dissolve. So you can use any sugar. You never use honey, apparently. I've never tried it, but don't use honey because it's got antibacterial qualities and again will damage the grains. So I usually buy a fruit sugar from the health food shop, but you can just as easy use ordinary sugar, ordinary granulated if you want to. I tried it once with the dark brown coconut sugar because I thought that would be really nice, using a nice deep organic sugar, but apparently it's a bit too much of a mouthful for your grains. Normally you have to sort of introduce it gradually over a number of brews, so that you can sort of train your grains to eat that type of sugar. And what I made from it tasted awful actually. Really put me off a bit. So I've gone back to fruit sugar because I just get consistently good results with it and a really delicate taste. So you're not drinking sugary drink. Don't worry about that, because that's the grains' job. The grains are going to metabolise the sugar. So by the time you drink it, it won't be really sickly sweet. It'll have a nice sort of slightly bitter tang, but you're going to flavour it with fruit or whatever you want. So don't let that put you off. So I've got a litre of water, and I'm just going to put about 5 of these spoonfuls of sugar in. There we go. Oh, I don't think I've got enough actually. 1, 2. I'm just going to tip it in because I'm very approximate, I'm not particularly precise with all this. So you put your sugar in and let it dissolve, and then you can put your grains in. So I think at this point I'm going to put them in a jar, probably a good idea. So today I'm just going to use one of these jars with one of these lids, but any jar will do. So tip your sugar water in, and then you can put your grains in. Okay, so you don't need that many really. You can probably see there's about, well, let's measure them. There's what, 1, 2, 3, there's 4. There's about 4 spoonfuls in. Now the grains will go to work on the sugar in there, so they will create a bit of gas, not grass. So what you can do, as you can see in this one that I made earlier, is you can, rather than have your lid screwed on really tight, is just let it breathe so some of the gases can escape, so you're not in danger of exploding a bottle. Some people do this, some people don't. Some people just tighten up the lid and it just creates a real fizz. You've got a real fizz starting to build up when the grains start metabolising the sugar. So I would say for safety, probably go for, you know, covering the top of the jar with a bit of kitchen roll or some cottony linen stuff, muslin. You know, either tie it on with an elastic band or something, or use the kilner jar so you can fasten it on. Really to stop the creepy crawlies getting in the dust, but letting the build-up of gas not getting too pressurised. So the sugar water I've just made is going to go away and sit on the shelf for 2 days, 3 days max, in a warmish place. So in my kitchen it's usually fairly warm. I'll leave it for 2 days, probably not more than 3. And then I'll come back to it, so by which time it will be quite fizzy and the gas would have built up. So then that's the first fermentation done and complete. So then we can start the second part of the process, which for me is the really fun part. So you tip out your water, collect the grains. Oops, I've used a jug that's not big enough. Just a second. Collect your grains, so they can now go into the next brew, or pop them in the fridge for a bit of a grain holiday until you're ready to use them again. I'm going to tip that back into a jar. Normally, hygiene being paramount, you just wash all your jars with hot soapy water between each stage, but for today's video I'm cheating a bit. So that's my sugar water that the grains have worked on. Fermentation 1 completed. So now is the fun part, is putting the flavour in, because this is going to now sit for another 2 days fermentation is a lot slower, but it's still there, so it's quite okay to put the lid tightly on this time. So for flavouring, the sky's the limit really. You can use different fruits, herbs, spices. Not sure about vegetables, not tried it. You probably could. Don't know if I fancy a fizzy drink like that though. If you haven't got any fruit in the house, use frozen fruit. I've always got in the freezer a bag of frozen cherries, and that makes a really nice drink as well. I'll just put 5 or 6, plop them straight in there, put the lid on and leave it on the shelf for 2 days just to finish its second fermentation. Whatever you fancy really. Got lots of ideas on that. Today I thought I'm going to make one of my favourites, which is this little jobby at the back, apple and mint. I've still got half a bottle left. Tends to get a bit of sediment down here, so I probably won't drink it all the way down. But apple and mint. This one's a cherry, and look at that lovely colour. It's lovely. It's got a really nice little delicate fizz as well. So today I'm just going to do apple and mint again, because it's just a really nice refreshing drink. So literally a sprig of mint out the garden, chocolate mint, not ordinary mint for me. So I'm literally just going to chuck it in. On my apple, I'm just going to put a few segments in and eat the rest naturally. So it's quite a delicate flavour, this one, but you can really taste the mint and the apple. And again, I'm just going to put the lid on that. And that's going to quietly fizz away for 2 days in my kitchen, and then it'll be ready to bottle. So I haven't got another one I prepared earlier, but when you're ready to bottle, literally, you know what I'm going to say, you just strain it off so that you collect the fruit and keep the flavoured water, which by that time will be full of this lovely fruity taste. The sugar will have all been utilised by the grains. So it'll be good to go, and I always put it in a bottle and then stick it in the fridge. You do sometimes get a little bit of fizz and gas, but going in the fridge slows down the fermentation, makes it really nice to drink straight out from the fridge as well. And pretty much that's it. So you've just got your first fermentation where you put your grains in your sugar water, and your second fermentation, which isn't quite so, I nearly said violent, but isn't quite so fizzy. And that's the flavouring bit, and then really you just bottle it and it's ready to drink. Really nice refreshing drink as well. But you can experiment yourself with how much sugar you use and the different flavourings you can use. I've got a little handout, a little 4-page handout with pictures that takes you through each step in hopefully more simple way than I've explained it. I think I've waffled a bit, but it really is easy to do. It's really simple. I hope that you'll give it a try, because it's a really fun thing to do, and of course it's good for your health. It's really good for your gut health, and your gut health is really paramount for your overall health. When you've got a weak gut or an irritated gut, something going on in your gut, it has all sorts of other knock-on effects throughout your body. So yeah, I hope you'll give it a try. Do get in touch, and I will, if you'd like my step-by-step guide on how to make this stuff with some extra flavouring ideas in there as well if you need them. Just get in touch and I'll email that to you. That's no problem. That will be my pleasure. And yeah, happy fermenting, and be back again soon, no doubt. Take care. Bye.